I
Okay.
haven't done an in-person podcast in I think it's been a year. And then I haven't done one of these in several months.
Is it because of the
Just,
job or just you're
just
moving to a
being
different?
busy. Like
Okay.
I've just been so busy doing other things that um the podcast isn't like a money maker or anything for me.
Yeah.
It's just like something fun that I do. I've built some great relationships by doing it, but it's mainly like the in person. The Zooms, I for the amount that I've done, I think I've done over 100 of the Zooms. Um, I don't really keep in contact with most of those people.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll just do Welcome to America's podcast. We have on John. Is it Wichert? I feel like
Yeah.
I don't even know if
Yeah.
how often I
You
actually
said
say
it right. Yeah.
um
How long do you want to go? Just so I have an idea.
an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. That's I mean, I know me and you have like gone over and oh,
Yeah.
I think the last time actually you might be my last podcast.
Oh, really?
Are you? Because remember the last time I had to get on the radio because one of the artists I work with had a radio
Yes.
show.
You
Yeah.
had to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was the last one I did. It
That was
was a while ago.
it was a while ago for
Yeah,
sure.
let's see.
At least 6, 8 months. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's been a year.
I was thinking it had been. I just don't remember.
Has it?
It's probably been close because I usually been trying to do one with you once a year because we always talk about football. But then we also like want
Yeah,
to
but
pop
we
in.
interrupted it because we were talking about your job, your new job
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. And but I also like talking about stuff during the season. So I didn't know if I had you on twice during football season.
Maybe it was like December or January of this year.
Right after I think it was
Right.
right before the national championship.
I think that's when it was. Yeah, so 10-ish months.
Yeah. Um
Okay.
Screw it. We're not even gonna do the intro. John Wichert's on again. He's been
Fucking intro.
yeah. We've had you on. What was this? This is the fourth time.
Something like that.
Did you
Yeah.
do two in Milwaukee?
I did. Yes, I was one of the ones that did two in Milwaukee, and then I know we've done at least two, possibly three already outside of Milwaukee.
Okay. So yeah. Um, so for people who haven't seen those, please go back and watch those. Those are awesome. But I think that for this one, there's so many different topics just around college football that me and John want to talk about. I don't know where he wants to start, but I'm down for anything.
Anywhere, anywhere.
So my big thing I think that I would like to talk about is I just want to get it out of the way. Like, what are your top three predictions of
Oh man.
things that will happen in the season that will blow people's minds, like the surprises of the season?
Whew. That's a good one. All right. I'm riffing right off the top of the head, things that come in right away. One, I think the tweaking of the playoff is still going to create a shit show like it did last year.
So you think majority of people think the system is okay? Like
No, 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 no. Let me quantify that. So the tweaks that the committee made, obviously they believe may fix some of the issues from last year, i.e. having the conference winners get the bye, not the top seeds getting the bye.
yeah, yeah,
I still think it's going to be a shit show.
yeah, 100%. Uh,
I
Mainly
was going to
because
start easy.
um, I think that majority of people will never be happy with whatever the system is. Like, I don't think people were happy with the BCS. And
So, so I see it as two different things. You're right. You're never like what Bob Marley said, you can't make all the people happy all the time.
yeah,
Absolutely. But whether or not it's a shit show, is kind of on another level. And I thought last year was kind of a shit show because I mean you had like Arizona or who had the buys that really shouldn't have that got
Boise?
destroyed. Boise State. I think Tennessee. Did Tennessee have
No,
no?
maybe Indiana because they won.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I believe all of the teams that got the bye just were absolutely demolished in the game that they were in.
Oh, SMU. They won the Big 12.
SMU too. I should have known. It's 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I would call a shit show. And I think something is going to happen to where even with the top four seeding, there's going to be some sort of an issue like to that level. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but that's what I think. For sure, people are always going to complain,
Yeah.
but I still think it's going to be to the level of last year, and I foresee more tweaks needed, which, to be honest, if they tweak it, that's a good thing. I like to see ever evolving changing, but if we'll see if college football can get out of their ways.
Yeah, and I definitely believe that the majority of fans, like when we get something different, we we have a hard time adjusting to it, but once like the season goes on, like we get done with this season, we go into the next season. I already heard that they're working on a 16 team playoff. I heard,
Okay.
yeah, and I heard other things. But I am all for football. Whatever, like more games, sure. Like I'm not going to say it's better because in my opinion, that's that's my problem with any league that's outside of football. I think that you take like except baseball, like baseball fine, whatever. But like basketball, 82 games in a season and most of the players don't make it through the whole season because of an injury or they get sat because their team is doing well and so the team's like
Load management.
exactly. So like sometimes more games isn't better because now you've got these college athletes who are still having class and exams and stuff like that and
In
they have
theory.
to play a they have to play a 16 or 15 game season now and you want to bump it up to 16 games like they still have to go to class like it is a full-time job at that point and they're
Well,
getting
and the
paid.
issue I foresee an issue with that too. If they extend it so much further, you're gonna F with the NFL playing on Saturdays when they get, in January and like January, and
Yeah,
then even into the playoffs in February.
yeah, and that's another thing like you're ruining all scheduling. And the NFL has already had a problem with it because they try to make some games at certain times, and then college also had that. So the time slots, and it was like, oh shoot, like we we probably shouldn't do that because at the end of the day, that's what ESPN and all the other stations are looking for is how much money can we make off of
Yeah.
the situation. So
I will tell you one thing I do like about the new playoff is how they have the early rounds on campus. I
yeah,
think that's cool at the stadiums, at their home stadiums. That's cool. Watching Tennessee play Ohio State in what was it, early January? I mean,
yeah.
that's awesome.
I thought it was beautiful seeing Penn State play. Who did they play? Dang, who did they have first round? Was it Notre Dame?
I think so.
No, because Notre Dame played
No.
State in the championship. 'Cause I think Penn State won the first game and then because they played at home and then they lost their second game.
Yeah.
Dang, I don't even remember.
Now I want to see.
Yeah, because Ohio State played Penn State, right? I don't remember. Anyways,
No, Ohio State played, Penn State played Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl.
so they beat Boise at home.
Yeah, that I think that was it.
And then who they play next round?
Uh, This isn't right. Damn
Mhm.
Copilot. I thought I was slick loading up Copilot. Uh, anyway, let's move on. But yeah, no, it was cool seeing them play at the home stadiums in that first round before they moved on to the neutral, more, I would argue, more sterile sites, like with the Fiesta Bowl playing out in Arizona and the pro style stadiums. Not
Yeah.
that, but yeah, no, I thought that was cool.
I think it would also be interesting if you got the option to just not do that. So let's say you're Alabama and you have to play Ohio State in the first round or whatever. Instead of playing at home, you decide like, oh, let's take it to the Georgia Dome or something like that. Like, because it wouldn't matter against Ohio State because they're so far away. So if you're Alabama, like, maybe you want to just take your team to play somewhere different just because. I think that would be an interesting thing that might happen, but I doubt any school would ever pick that.
Yeah, because you would want, I see your point, but then, for example, like, well, let's take like a northern team like Indiana, Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State. If I were them, I'd want to bring, especially if they're playing a southern team, I'd want to bring them north.
Yeah.
Come play in the cold.
Yeah.
And it was Penn State played SMU first round.
Oh, okay.
And then it was 38-10, and then they went to the quarterfinal, which was the Fiesta Bowl, and beat Boise State to
Actually,
31-14.
I remember that now because there's a famous like meme that got brought out of that Penn State SMU game, and it's when the SMU quarterback has his hands over his ears, and then they have like the college football game like stadium pulse level. It was all
Uh,
he was
yeah,
like,
that
oh my God.
that there he's used to playing his home games at a stadium that seats 40,000 people. And it's mostly rich oil executives and their kids there that are just trying to hobnob. So
And even SMU away games aren't like they don't play Texas A&M. They don't play Texas.
no, they're in the ACC.
So that like they don't have any of those crazy big stadiums in Texas or anywhere else that they have to
No,
play.
the only people they would go into would be your powerhouse ACC schools, in theory.
Yeah.
Miami, Florida State, Clemson would really be the top tier stadium wise in terms of capacity, I
You know,
think. And I'm probably
look,
missing one, but
sorry to change the subject, but
you're good.
I know we were going through your predictions, but I am no, I'm gonna save this. I need to write this down or something. I'm gonna save this conversation for later. Is something that I have a bone to pick with Miami for not doing this thing, but yeah, hold me to that memory. So your second prediction, wild and wacky surprise of the year.
Oh, I'm gonna be so wrong in this, but I'm gonna look like a genius if I'm right. Arch Manning isn't as good as everyone thinks he is.
Mm. So the arch thing is interesting to me because we've seen him play,
True.
and
But
sometimes
what have we seen him play in?
he played against Georgia, right? In the
Was it the
national
full
in
game?
the SEC championship game, right? So he played the second half, and he did okay. I don't think he did great. I don't think he did horrible. I think he did okay. He actually did about as good as Quinn
Wait, you
Ewers.
mean you mean Texas? Texas and Ohio State?
No, I think Texas played Georgia in the SEC championship, and that's when they
Oh, I'm
played.
sorry, not playoffs. Sorry,
Yeah,
I missed
that's
you.
so they played Georgia, and Quinn Ewers was starting because he had started all year.
Yeah, and then they yanked him, right?
Yeah, they yanked him, and then they put in Arch, and he did okay. Like he got some running yards. I think he threw a touchdown or he ran for a touchdown, and then just kind of, I think they might have stayed with him. I can't remember, but like it wasn't super convincing that he was better than Quinn. It was just like, okay, you're just as good as Quinn, so we're not gonna put you in and keep you in because we already have Quinn.
Yeah.
So
See,
now
that's
it's
what I
like,
mean. Like I haven't seen anything convincing. He
yeah,
didn't come in and light anyone up unless it was trash minutes in a blowout game.
yeah,
So I don't know. That's why I said like I'm either gonna look like a genius or an absolute moron
yeah.
because they weren't letting him loose. But I don't know. That would be my second sort of unhinged, wacky prediction that I don't want to say he's a bust because what is he, a sophomore?
He's a red,
Junior, redshirt junior?
or actually, he might be a true junior.
I think he's a true junior.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So like he's somewhat young and he doesn't have a lot of college, big time college football playing experience. So maybe he steps his game up or learns over time, or maybe he's been holding back. We don't know that they told him to go out there. Although if you're telling me he played against Georgia in the SEC championship game, they probably wouldn't have told him hold back. So
yeah, yeah. He played. I think it was two games he started, but they were like low level teams because Quinn had got hurt and Arch went in and started, I think, two games, but just so happened those two games were against like mediocre.
yeah, it wasn't very good teams. I remember that
And then
because Ewers
after
hurt
that,
his arm or something.
yeah. And then Ewers came back after that
Yeah.
second game and started again. And I
Yeah.
don't think Arch saw the field again until either garbage time. They had like design run plays for him because he's a good runner. And then the most he played since that time was, I think, the Georgia game. And they might have put Quinn back in. I don't even remember during the Georgia.
That I don't remember. I don't remember, but I obviously I hope he does phenomenal because I think it's good for college football if a Manning is doing phenomenal and if Texas is doing good as well. But that's I don't know. To me, it's a 50-50 because we haven't he's not proven.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
All right. Then your third, give me
Third.
something like
All right.
so you gave me a player, you gave me a
All
system.
right.
What about,
So I want to go. I have a 3A and a 3B. I see where you're going about player system. I'm going to go head coach.
okay.
Bill Belichick, 10 wins.
10. If he gets 10 wins, he's already
Dude,
the greatest
he's
coach ever.
he's banging a 24-year-old. What else can this man do?
That would be insane. That would blow my mind at North Carolina. But not even so
All
if it
right.
was North
Maybe I
Carolina,
should amend it. Maybe 9 wins.
if it was North Carolina of old, then I could see this happening because like they had like Sam Howell. They've had like
Yeah.
three at one point they had two running backs on the roster that ended up going in like the second and third round of the draft. And then they just had another running back that went pretty high. Um, they've had great receivers come out of there. There was a receiver recently. I can't remember what team he plays for, but he played for North Carolina.
They've had like they've had like good slot receivers, like
Yeah.
fast white guys in the
Yeah. Yeah.
slot.
Yeah.
But and then they've had good pro style quarterbacks. Um, who can run? I can't remember the one's name, but he could move his feet, but he was also more of a pocket passer that could run. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at the team or what kind of talent they have, but I unhinged prediction. I figured I'd go with, like I said, he's banging a 24-year-old. Why not continue the run?
Yeah. If that's not motivation enough to have a good
Yeah.
season, you're not having a good season. That's his motivation
After
to play.
especially after all the turmoil and all the rumors coming out of it that she was like proofreading it, reading his emails or like sending them out for him or whatever it was. Oh man, I would love it if he just went on a run. I don't think I'm right, but I figured it would be an entertaining thing to say.
It would have been accurate if you had predicted a scandal with them two. That's your prediction as a scandal.
All right, so two things can be true at the same time. Maybe he goes on a run and has a scandal at the same time.
Oh, they got to
Maybe that
vacate wins.
maybe they break up and he goes on a heater in spite.
They haven't won a game. She's upset and leaves him, and then he just goes undefeated.
They lose the first two games. She breaks up with him, and then they go on a run. uh,
Oh my God.
and then I got to get my 3B out there because it wouldn't be a college football podcast with you if I wasn't a Miami homer. Carson Beck, Heisman Trophy finalist.
Finalist. Okay.
Finalist. I don't know if he'll win it like
Yeah.
Cam Ward, but we'll at least this is what I'm hoping for anyway.
So who's he throwing to? Like who's the receivers?
Ask me names. They're large. The workhorse Xavier Restrepo graduated.
Yeah.
I did read an article, and if I was not busy, I would have read more. But I did read that the Miami receiver room, I believe they have one transfer. I can't remember from where, but even going back to last year, that receiver room was so deep that some of the guys that were very, very talented coming out of high school really haven't even gotten touches. And then Miami always has some sort of large tight end that makes a difference as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So their wide receiver room, their running back room, and their tight end room right now is, I would say, unproven, but pretty talent rich. Now it's the case of Arch Manning as well. It's talent rich, but is it proven and tested under fire? We'll
Yeah.
find out.
Those are pretty good. Yeah, I would agree with pretty much all of them. Like, is it possible? Yeah, but would it be wild? Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm all for it. Um,
And that's what I was going for. I was like, I could see it. It's kind of unhinged, but I can,
yeah,
there crazier things have happened.
yeah. So I'm gonna go number one. Let me get my Alabama one out the way. Um, Bama loses the national championship to somebody, whoever it is.
Okay.
So
Why lose it?
I don't think that this team has the capability of winning one. I think this team is probably about as talented as that Washington team that lost in their national championship to Michigan, which Kalen DeBoer was the head coach of that Washington team. So that's why I
Okay.
say I think that I think that they have the ability to make it to the national championship, but I don't think they have the ability to win it. Like, I think that there's just too many teams out there that are probably veteran led and talented, and like the roster is talented enough. So, which that leads me to my next prediction is that this prediction is like about teams. I'm gonna say teams all
Okay.
together. So I think Ohio State is going to be worse than what people think. I,
Okay.
and
I
you agree with that one?
Yeah, I do.
I,
Absolutely.
I think actually I'm gonna even go further with that one. I think
Even with Jeremiah Smith.
yeah,
Okay.
because the quarterback is Julian Sayin, which
Yes.
is a transferred from Alabama, and that's another thing I have is Ohio State's three best players. No, I'm sorry, two best players or important players came from Alabama. Julian Sayin is the starting quarterback. He transferred from Alabama. And Caleb Downs, the star safety, transferred from Alabama. So I think that's pretty hilarious. But yeah, I think Julian Sayin is unproven. I think he's probably talented, but it took them until last week to name him as the starter. So he's obviously not like amazing.
Lighting it up. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think he beat out like maybe a junior. He might have beat out a senior. I can't remember, but I think it
What
was
year is he?
Sayin is probably a redshirt sophomore
Okay.
because he was at Bama and he was, oh, I think he actually committed to Bama and then transferred
Okay.
after Saban announced his retirement. I think he was committed to Bama and then I don't even know if he was actually on the team. I can't remember. But and then the running back situation, I'm not sure who their big running back is. They do have Jeremiah, they do have Brandon Ennis, and they have another receiver that are like highly touted receivers. Um, so their receiving core is honestly their wide receiver U. Like they've got some of the best receivers in the NFL. Their college receivers are amazing. Like they're going to put out receivers. And then
Yeah.
the defense lost a lot from last year. So except for like Caleb Downs and a couple other positions, they're pretty solid there. But altogether, I just feel like they're not going to be as dominant as what people think, which will ironically will be that team before the season, before the postseason, because they lost two games during the regular season. So I think they will do about the same
Well,
this year.
okay. So you think so over under on losses is two to
I,
you.
I will say they'll lose the same. I think they'll lose two.
Same? Okay.
Yeah. Just like I don't think they will be as dominant as what people think
Okay.
because they're not going to do that playoff run.
Well,
They're going to lose two games, make the playoffs, and then win a championship.
who do you think they're going to lose to? Do you think they're going to lose to Texas and Michigan again?
If the
Or
yeah,
not again, but
at
this
first
year they will lose to Texas and Michigan.
I don't think they'll lose to Michigan. I
Okay.
think I think Michigan is also not as good this year. They weren't that great last year, but I think they'll be a little bit better. I think they'll be a better team, but still
Do you
not.
think the Underwood kid comes in and lights it up, or is he going to have a learning curve?
I think he's going to have a learning curve. I think
Okay.
he's going to be similar to DJ Lagway. You
Okay.
know, or yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully you can stay healthy.
yeah, yeah. So to me, I'm going to say the whole Big Ten is not going to be as good as what most people think. And I'm going to say my third crazy prediction. Um, I wanted to say a Heisman. I think I'll go ahead and say I'll say a wide receiver wins the Heisman, whether that
Okay.
be Jeremiah or Ryan Williams. I think one of them is probably going to win the Heisman. And I say that because I can't think of a quarterback that they would just for sure give it to if one of those other two guys have a great season. And I think what helps Ryan is that Devontae Smith just won it in 2020. And I think the last receiver to have won it was
Was it?
receiver Desmond Howard. I think he was
Wait,
the
wait,
last
wait.
receiver to have won it before
Wait, wait, wait. Who won it last year?
Travis
He
Hunter.
played he
Yeah,
played
yeah,
two
yeah. That's right.
positions.
Yeah,
Do
I'm
we count
thinking.
him as a wide receiver?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
I
But
don't think he should have won it.
I don't either. Who do you think should have
I,
won it?
Janty.
I would say this well. Yeah, even
I think
even
he should have won it.
even the caliber of talent. He didn't play the most talented teams, but just the sheer
He
number
was
of carries.
dominant.
Yeah, the sheer
Dominant.
dominance. Like Travis did some really crazy stuff, really electrifying things. But okay, so you know what? This is literally the same thing that happened. Think about I think it was Derrick Henry won the Heisman over Christian McCaffrey. And I think that's right. But that is about the same. Like Christian McCaffrey, like returned kicks, he returned
Did
punts,
everything. Yeah.
did everything. He probably threw a couple touchdowns that season. That's what Travis Hunter
I
did.
think he did actually.
Everything. And Derrick Henry was just a workhorse. Bama was giving him a ton of carries, and he just won the Heisman because he had 1,000 carries and like 2,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. It's
Yeah.
like that's basically what happened. Was the opposite of what happened that year. Genty didn't win, and they gave it to Travis. And some people think that Derrick Henry shouldn't have won it, and Christian McCaffrey should have won it.
Yeah.
So I guess
I,
pick your poison.
I don't know. I can see it both ways because I specifically last year tried to watch a few Colorado games, and Travis Hunter was unbelievable.
Yeah,
It was so fun to watch him do what he did on both sides of the ball. He was, like you said, electrifying. But I also made it a point to watch a few Boise State games. I would stay up for, was it Pac-10 after dark or
yeah, yeah,
whatever it is. He was so fun to watch too. Anytime he touched the ball, like the defense had to know the ball was going to him. And still, he would rip 20, 30-yard runs and bounce people off of him. That's what was most amazing to me is the yards after first contact for him
yeah.
was he would just bounce off of people. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and I wish there was something that helped people. Um, so like I don't know if you know, but the Maxwell Award is the most outstanding player.
Yeah.
Then the Heisman is a different kind of award. It's to me they should add something like community service or something like that to it to make it more.
All encompassing.
Yeah,
That's how you're getting at.
because like it's supposed to like if you're an outlandish player, like let's say you get into fights and stuff like that, you won't win the Heisman. Like they won't even put you up for it because it's supposed to be more of a prestigious like
Yeah.
fraternity. It's not just like we're just going to give this to whoever. And I heard that they were having issues giving it to Baker because Baker had some on-field antics. They had a hard time giving it to Johnny Manziel because
Manziel, I was gonna say, or
he had
Mr. Manziel, Money Manziel.
and a lot of people don't think about that, and that's why they do that. And I remember a long time ago, if you won the Maxwell, it probably meant you weren't winning the Heisman. It was like whoever won the Maxwell didn't win the Heisman because it's like they didn't want to give you both. I
Well,
think
I believe Cam Ward won the Maxwell last year.
did he really?
I I'm almost positive. Yeah. Oh no, Janty did. I'm sorry. You're
Okay,
right. Yeah.
yeah. They gave the Maxwell to one person and then the Heisman to the other person.
Yeah.
They do that all the time, and I think Devontae Smith actually won the Maxwell. I can't remember. Um,
Yeah.
okay,
2020, Devonta.
so the only kind of players that are going to do that is like hands down, nobody was even close to you as far as like dominance. Like Derrick Henry might have done that. And even though, I said Christian McCaffrey, so they might have given to him as well. But like, if you were hands down, like the most dominant player, maybe Cam Newton won it that year, then you'll probably win the Maxwell and the Heisman. But usually, whoever wins the Maxwell, they'll give somebody else the Heisman. So
Yeah.
the night before you see the Maxwell given out, you can bet
Yeah.
somebody else is going to win the Heisman.
You're being left on the stage
Yeah. Like
for the Heisman. Yeah.
I would challenge one of us to look at the Vegas odds after the other awards have been given out. So
Oh, and see how they shift.
see how they shift. Yeah. Because it
That's
happens.
actually not a bad, maybe that's a good play. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah. Because if like do your research and check who's won the Maxwell and then who's won the Heisman every year, and it's usually different people. Very
Yeah.
rarely is it the same person unless they just completely dominated football that year.
Gotcha.
And I think the same might go for did Cam win the Davy O'Brien?
Maybe that's what he won.
Davey O'Brien's like the best quarterback. And then there's
Yeah,
like a
Cam Ward. Yep.
there's like a Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award as well.
Yeah, that's what he won. I knew he won some sort of superlative, like best of. Yeah. So that's what he won. But no, that's an interesting. Now when you say it in terms of Vegas odds, I can make money off of it. Uh my speaking of Vegas odds, my mother knows little. She used to go to college football, Miami games, college football games for
Hmm.
the people watching. That was like I like going for the people watching.
Yeah.
So she has a neighbor friend that every year for the Final Four, him and his kids, adult kids now, meet in Atlantic City, and they bet on the games and they just have a time in Atlantic City. In the last 2 years, he has said is like instead of bringing back a shirt or a gift or something for my mom, he goes pick a bet and I'll place a bet for you. I'll put $50 on it. So the last 2 years, my mom has bet Texas to win the national championship.
Oh my
And
goodness.
she's like, yeah, she's like trying. She was talking to me about she's trying to like understand the odds. And this year, she's like, I did some research, and I said, was it? No, I'm sorry, it was last year. Or was it? No, it was. I'm sorry, because she placed it obviously March
Hmm.
of this year, and before she was making the bet, so like early March, I said, hey, you may want to do a little research on a guy named Arch Manning, and that may influence your opinion on whether or not you want to pick Texas. She goes, "Oh, that's really good. I'll do that." She calls me back like a couple of weeks later and she goes, "I didn't know a Manning was still playing football."
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, no, that's I was helping my mom with Vegas odds when it came to picking college football national champions this year.
Yeah, and so who do you think is going to win it? Like who do you think is got the capability of winning it?
Capability or is gonna win.
Like, to me,
I
there's only a few.
yeah. Oh, that's so hard. Mm. I want to say Texas, but it goes against my Arch Manning is a dud
Yeah.
prediction. Um, I, something in me says Texas this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
I, I I truly think Arch Manning will be a talent, but for the sake of wild takes, I said what I said. I really think Texas has something about the momentum. Maybe it's because I'm here, maybe it's bias being here, but I think they have what it takes.
I think if their defense does what it's supposed to, I know they have a good front four. Like they have great defensive linemen and great
Yeah.
linebackers. Like one of their linebackers might be the best linebacker in the country. Um, their offense should be loaded. Arch at quarterback. They've got like three great running backs. Don't know about the offensive line. They don't have great receivers. They have talented receivers, but they're unproven, except for Wingo is good.
Yeah.
Wingo kind of reminds me of Xavier Worthy. And then they have a incoming freshman named Kalik Lockett, and he's supposed to be like out of this world. Like he's supposed to be amazing.
Okay.
So if they can get the receiving core together and have a good offensive line, then yeah, I could see it happening.
And I think if so, I think Arch Manning has the ability to do it with his legs,
Yeah.
whatever it may be, on a 3rd and 7, pick it up with his legs. It's whether or not he can sling it with his arm
Mm.
accurately.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to me. I just looked up the odds though. Texas and Ohio State are plus 550. And then you have Penn State at plus 650, which is interesting to me. What do you think about Penn State?
I think James Franklin. is either doing an amazing job with a bunch of mid-level players, or he's doing a horrible job with a bunch of great players. Because that dude makes it to like I think two losses or less like they're a 10-win team every freaking year, but they can't get past Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get how you could have all that talent and get to that point and just never win the big game. Which he's going to be like, you remember Mark Richt?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
he is James Franklin is the new age Mark Richt. Like Mark
Okay.
Richt, I think
Because he would get 10 wins every season, but he would blow it when it matters.
he got fired after losing the SEC championship to Alabama.
And he went to Miami.
He got fired after
Yeah.
making it to a conference championship game and losing.
Yep.
It's like, dude, what? They just got sick of him winning 10 games every year and then not winning the championship.
Yep.
So I think that's James Franklin. That dude is they lose like two games a year. Like they hardly lose more than three or four, and they just can't win the big game. And so that's going to be their Achilles heel. I mean, even though they made it to the playoff this year, but still, again, they didn't
But
make it to the championship.
correct. Yeah. No, that's an interesting comparison, the Mark Richt to James Franklin. I like
If
that.
James Franklin goes 9-3 this year, he's fired.
I'd agree with that.
9-3.
Yeah.
Because he's had these talented teams. He had Micah Parsons, that's in the NFL, tearing up the NFL now. Um,
Saquon.
yeah, he might have had
I
Saquon.
think he had Saquon.
He's been there a while.
Yeah.
Like he's had all these great players come through there, and they can't win big games.
Yeah.
So
All right, who do you think's gonna win in the Natty? You said Alabama's gonna lose against someone. Who's it gonna be?
a part of me wants to say Texas, but again, it would have to match up properly. Um, I want to like Oregon, but I can't. After last year getting stomped by you won at home when you played during the regular season. Congrats. But so did Michigan. And then you end up um actually no. I think Ohio State lost to Michigan at Ohio State. Yeah,
They
it was
did.
yeah, because they were mad when they planted the flag
Correct.
on the field.
There
Um
was that whole scuffle. They deployed pepper spray.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was crazy. But yeah, Oregon, I don't trust you. Like, I love Dan
I
Lanning.
know.
He used to be a coach at Alabama, goes to Oregon, dominates recruiting. And
Well, and they always have phenomenal regular seasons, and
yeah,
then once again, when the pressure gets ratcheted up a little bit. And see, I hate giving the SEC their flowers when it comes to really anything, but that atmosphere, game in and game out, every week, trial by fire.
yeah,
Not to say that the atmosphere at the Pac-10 or when you go to USC, Oregon, whatever, the teams out there, but it's just not the same as an SEC atmosphere.
you know what? Give me, if he has a great year, Cade Klubnik, give me Clemson to beat Alabama.
Okay. That's
Clemson to
that's a
beat
dark
Alabama.
horse. I like that.
Yeah. Clemson is always loaded in recruiting. Cade Klubnik is a great quarterback. Some people have Cade winning the Heisman.
I've seen that. Yep.
I don't know who they have at running back. I don't know who they have at wide receiver, but it usually doesn't matter. Like they usually have these guys come out of nowhere and become dominant. Like in the past, they had like
Well,
Sammy Watkins and all those other
and
dominant
let's
receivers.
look at their schedule. So their schedule, first week LSU, big game.
Yeah,
Troy, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, North Carolina, which Bill Belichick may win.
yeah, yeah.
Boston College, SMU, Duke, Florida State, Louisville, Furman, South Carolina. Not a gauntlet by any means.
No, no. So three really tough games. You got to play LSU, South Carolina,
South Carolina,
one more.
maybe SMU,
Yeah, that's
maybe.
because
But I think I believe it was at home.
oh, was it okay?
Yeah.
SMU, they were a young team last year.
And they have a bunch of Miami transfers with a former Miami offensive coordinator in I can't remember his darn name right now.
Hmm.
Anyway, it was the former offensive coordinator who transferred, or I'm sorry, that was hired by SMU to be their head coach. But yeah,
So SMU might be just as good as last year. So Clemson, if they can win all their games, I could definitely see them winning the national championship. As much as it's not in my nature to pick them to do that, just because of how they've been lately. I don't know. I could see
but
them.
you're right. They always have I think you cited Sammy Watkins. They always have somebody that makes their presence known. And if Cade Klubnik can be the quarterback that everybody thinks that he's going to be, I can see it. And he has a lot of game experience too. He was their starter last year for sure, and I don't remember the previous year.
This will be his third year being the
Is
starter
it? Okay.
because him and DJ were swapping snaps. DJ Uyunglele
Oh, that's right. Uyunglele. Yeah. Yeah.
because he went to
Yeah.
Florida State the next year.
He went to Oregon State at some point. Oh yeah, you're right, because that's 3 years. Yeah, you're right.
I think he went to Oregon State and then Florida State.
Florida State. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's look at Texas schedule. Ohio State, San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston, Florida at Florida, Oklahoma, Red River Shootout, Kentucky, at Mississippi State. I can see, let's say Texas gets through Ohio State and Florida. They got to play at Florida, at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, at Georgia, and then Texas A&M at home. That's not easy.
Give me Texas to go and lose one game, and it's to Florida at Florida.
See, I was going to say Kentucky at Kentucky. I feel like Kentucky always has a funky way of pulling out a crazy win against a really good team.
But Kentucky, like when you play like Mario and you have all those little extra men and whatnot, Kentucky always uses up that extra man with the team, and that
Uh,
was last year. They should have beat Texas last year. They almost beat them, but they didn't. And so,
so at Florida, you think they're going to go to the swamp and get chomped?
yeah, I'll
I
take
can see that.
I'll take Texas to get chomped by
Now, now, do you subscribe to the notion that an earlier loss to a quality team, and really, it doesn't even have to be a quality team in the beginning. It has to be shown that they're a good quality team at the end is better than losing to a really quality team at the end of the season.
mm, I think so. Like the words you said can be summed up in one word, which is a hot team. Like when a team starts going on a streak at the end of the season, that's when they like the committee starts like, well, dang, you lost to this team, and this team is like on a roll. So we might let you go on that one. Um,
Well, so not necessarily. I see what you're saying, and you're not wrong. But what I was getting at was, let's say I forget who it was. Let's say, all right, let's use Texas and Ohio State as the example. Texas loses. Let's say Texas loses to Ohio State,
mhm.
but Ohio State runs the gauntlet. they're undefeated at the end of the season. Texas does the same thing, runs the gauntlet, but they have that one loss to Ohio State. Does that look better than, let's say, Texas winning against Ohio State? Ohio State doesn't look as good. They're middle of the road. And then let's say Georgia is undefeated as well, and Texas loses to Georgia in the last game of the season or second to last game of the season. Does that look better for Texas? What situation looks better? And do you think it matters?
To me, losing to a team that we find out is really good, I
In the
think it's
beginning of the season?
at the end of the season.
Okay. So you want all of the like the deck to shuffle, and then if a team loses and they're both high picks or high positions, that looks better than losing at the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, because that happened to Georgia, and I have all the sympathy in the world for Georgia on this situation, but Alabama, I think, had one loss on the season, and Georgia was undefeated, and they played Alabama in the SEC championship, and Bama beat them, and it put Bama in the playoff, and it took Georgia out. And to me, in the 18 playoff, Georgia makes the playoff and probably dominates whoever they play in the first round if it was that
Okay.
same season. And the reason why that's why I say I have sympathy for them for that is I think if you lose late in the season to a good team, the
It looks
committee,
better.
yeah, the committee should be like, it's fine because that was a really good team. And if,
Okay.
but it also depends on how you lost. Like if you lost by 7, then oh my God, we're so sorry. Here's a playoff berth. If you
Yeah.
lost by 30, get out of here.
True. Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't quantify that, but yeah, no. And I think in my scenario, I was talking about there were close losses in both scenarios. I said it was never a blowout loss. But yeah, absolutely. If you get blown out at the end of the season, then that's not good.
Yeah.
That's Miami's MO.
Yeah.
So no, I agree. It's so funny to me how timing matters so much because there is such recency bias too. Like if you can say, I don't know, timing is everything, not only in life but especially in college football for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I also have sympathy for anybody who's in the Mountain West or Pacific time zone trying to win a Heisman. Nobody's staying up for your
Oh,
games,
and yeah,
bud. So
yep.
kudos on who was it? Somebody on the West Coast. Was it well, is USC and UCLA? No, no, not UCLA. Oregon. USC and Oregon joined the Big Ten. And somebody on the West Coast joined the ACC. Oh, was it Cal?
UCLA joined the ACC.
Was it UCLA or Cal?
Yeah, because Miami played them. I, is it both of them?
Oh,
It
so
was Cal. It was Cal.
Cal.
Yeah,
So they
for
have to
sure,
go
Cal.
all the way across the country to play all their games.
Yep, for the
So
most part. Yeah.
yeah, they're away games. So like, yeah, that's one way to help your your Heisman odds if you have somebody to do it. But yeah, timing, as you said, is everything. Like you could literally miss out on awards just because nobody's watching your games or struggling to watch your games.
You could be, I mean, look at uh, let's use Cam Newton as an example. I mean, he ended up winning it, but let's say because he was behind Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Let's say he decided he was a loyal guy and wanted to stay with Florida. Would he have won the Heisman? Would he have done everything that he would have done? I mean, so it's you make your own luck and you can affect timing, but timing definitely affects things.
Yeah. And that, I mean, you just talking about the transfer thing. I know that was another topic we wanted to get
Yeah.
into.
And
Uh,
NIL.
yeah. So what, so what's your take on the transfers that have happened so far? Like
So
what's happening to the teams? Like, what's your take on like, what has gone on?
I'm noted. I feel like if you're a head coach, you're either buying in completely to the transfer portal or you're like vehemently against it.
Hmm.
You're like Nick Saban and just want to retire.
Yeah.
You know, I the other I forget what I was listening to, some radio show or something, but it's taking away from the person's viewpoint was it's taking away from the high school athlete because now so many, like let's say there's 20 scholarship spots. Now teams are going into the portal and trying to fill those spots with transfer portal people as opposed to college recruits. You could, and this wouldn't necessarily bode well for like building your depth and building recruiting and then building, but you could use the transfer portal to fill your team every year as opposed to high school recruits, right?
Yeah.
And
You
that's
never have to recruit.
yeah. I mean, you have to recruit in the sense that you have to go out and in a sense woo transfer portal players,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like that going into the living room of a high senior or junior, you don't necessarily have to do anymore.
Did,
I
did you hear about
it's very
Dion?
no. In what
Dion,
respect?
he has literally never visited a recruit since he's been at Colorado.
Really?
He has not made one visit. And
Wow. I can see that.
he used the portal. Like they had the most I think they had like 30 something transfers his first year.
Okay.
And this past year I think they still had the most transfers. So
So
he's doing that.
that's what he believes is going to get him to where he needs to be. But you still got to think there's some sort of coach out there that if I had to put a profile on it, a long tenured coach that believes in his process, believes in the system, and wants to recruit young, seniors, high school seniors to go through that process and trust the process. But you really have to, as a high school kid, you really have to want to buy into that because if I can go get my bag somewhere else, I'm not going to sit and ride the bench. You know what I mean? So that's where I think you have the NIL and you have the transfer portal that they're working sometimes in conjunction with one another and sometimes not in conjunction with one another.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting that you can go and just I didn't know about the Dion thing. I gotta look that up. That he's just filling his roster with transfer portal.
And I think it was because he saw it. He thinks of the college level as kind of like an NFL type of thing. It's like, oh, let me just go get these
Trades.
agents,
Yeah.
just roll with them because they've got more experience. And I think he really needed that his first year because
Yeah.
he kicked off like half the team, and then um,
And I would also say he's obviously built a brand. I mean, he's prime time.
yeah,
So he already has the leg up in the sense that you already know who he is, you know what he's about, he's got the blenders eyewear and it- but how does the transfer, let's say that same philosophy applied for Joe Schmo, not necessarily Joe Schmo, but a lesser known college football coach at a bigger school, let's say the same size as Colorado. Let's take Sanford. Or, would it work the same for them? I don't know.
yeah. I don't know about that one.
I think what part of what makes the ability of Dion to be able to do that is because he has a brand
Yeah,
and he can recruit based upon that brand.
absolutely. Yeah, he he has odd tactics, which I would love to see what Belichick is doing. Somebody needs to get on that
Me
doc
too.
stat.
Me
But
too. Is he sending the 24-year-old girlfriend into living rooms?
dear Lord, her and all her friends. Uh Jesus. So I think that yeah, the transfer portal to me has been interesting. It makes football way more college football way more interesting because like we didn't have that in the previous years before this transfer portal stuff. So like I remember growing up playing the college football video games like man, I wish I had this guy on my team or this guy
Yeah.
on Alabama and stuff like that. But like now it can happen. Ohio State literally took one of Bama's best players in Caleb Downs, and then um, Alabama just took Isaiah Horton from Miami. Um,
Yes, they did.
let's see who else. USC just lost their best player, Zachariah Branch. Him and his brother both went to Georgia. Miami takes Carson Beck
Carson Beck.
from
Yep.
Georgia.
From Georgia.
So like all these players are just jumping around to other major schools. Back then, Cam Newton was leaving Florida and going to Blinn College.
JUCO. Yep.
Like
Yep.
we don't have that anymore.
That's not the path anymore unless you need to build. If you think you're already built, that's not the path anymore.
Yeah.
And Cam Newton was kind of different because I think he had uh disciplinary issues too. So he may have been somewhat blackballed. But yeah, the sentiment, I agree.
Yeah. That used to be the thing. Like guys didn't play or something like that at the school that they wanted to go to, so they would go
Is
to
Blinn in Alabama?
it's in Texas.
Texas. Okay, all right.
So yeah, like players used to just go to JUCO, and then after they would leave JUCO, they would go somewhere else. What
Yeah.
Alabama had Savion Smith. He was like one of the top cornerbacks in his recruiting class, and he went to LSU. And then something happened. I'm not sure if it was disciplinary or he just wasn't turning out to be as good. He went to a community college, and then Bama picked him up out of that community college. But again, that was back when players were doing that. But nowadays, they just swap. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild to me. Like I love seeing it, but it also makes me nervous because I'm like, all right, which player from Alabama is going to leave? But
Gonna get
like,
plucked. Yeah.
it didn't really happen for Alabama this spring. Not one player transferred out. And Alabama was actually the only SEC school that had no transfers.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I thought it says a lot about the system and thinking behind Kalen DeBoer and what he has done with that team because they had like 20 something transfers when Saban left. And so everybody who's there now, they really want to be there
Yeah.
because they could have left when Saban left. But now it's like, hey, I'm here. Like, I'm here. I want to be with this team. And
Yeah.
it
I'm
sounds,
not here for Saban.
yeah, it sounds like they really like Kalen DeBoer. Like the players that are there, they really like him. So, um, and there's other teams where you have seen players stay because they just love that coach. And it makes,
Or they feel the loyalty. And when you say that, and I said what I just said, I think of Ashton Janty as well. He stayed at
Mhm.
Boise State. And I think that's another, I don't know. I don't know if they take that into account when they hand out the Heisman. Obviously not, he didn't win it, but I, that loyalty where he could have went and made what he probably could have made his senior year, but no, he decides to stay in Boise, which I don't know if you've ever been to Boise. Fun town.
Really.
But yeah, it's I always call it one of it is the most fun little city I've ever been to.
Mm.
Because it's not a big city, but it has somewhat taller buildings and it's got a downtown city center. It is so much fun.
Mm.
Breweries, and the mountains, there ski resorts 45 minutes away that are half, if not a three-quarters of the cost of Colorado. It's anyway, great town, but he decided to stay in Boise, and
Yeah.
I think that should be anyway. I just thought he was an impressive guy. Not that Travis Hunter wasn't impressive, but I just thought he was impressive in his thoughts and his process and his mindset as well.
Yeah. I also think that there's many other players who, I really congratulate them for staying, especially like Jeremiah Smith. Like you did just win the national championship, but you really could have just jobbed Hunt. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like you could have just
switch. Well, I mean that's like what I don't know. I don't know what the statistic is, but it's, most people, the way to make the most amount of money out of your career when it comes to jobs is to switch jobs. Now, it's not to stay at one job for 30 years. It's to switch every, I think it was 4 years, 4 to 5 years on average. So I agree. Like I mean, if you prove yourself year in and year out, let's say you're a freshman phenom college football player. You prove yourself freshman year, transfer somewhere else your senior or your sophomore year, get another bag, prove yourself again. Junior year, prove yourself again, get a bigger bag somewhere else. And then if you're hot shit, you're probably going to the league and foregoing your senior year. But you could hop around those three different times and increase your pay every time.
yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't blame a kid if he did.
No.
They have all full rights to jump around because like coaches will jump around. Coach will quit, go to the NFL. Coach will leave, get a different job. Your defensive coordinator might be somebody else's head coach next week. So
But you run the risk of being Imalavea, the Tennessee quarterback.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
run the risk of becoming villain number one and overinflating your value. You run that risk. And to me, and I think we texted about this, that's in a sense free market capitalistic system at its finest. You think your product yourself is worth X amount. Test it on the open market. The market will set your value. And I think what did he go from making, I believe it was in the neighborhood of 4 schmil at Tennessee, and now he's in the neighborhood of 1 schmil at UCLA.
yeah. I don't remember, but it's significantly less.
Yeah, I believe it was 4 to 1. And I think he was looking, I want to say he was looking in the neighborhood of 6. That was like his evaluation. And once again, that was like all, I believe it was hearsay,
Yeah.
but those are the numbers that run in my head. I could be completely wrong, but
The, the
yeah,
the worst part about it's public, and it's got
yeah,
to be embarrassing to
yep,
ask for more money and not get it, and then especially in a locker room to be like, oh, I'm still here making the same amount of money, and I didn't want this, and everybody knows.
correct. So like and I think you alluded to this. You have the right to do it, but just because you have the right doesn't mean it's a good thing to do.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
you just messed up the whole locker room. Like,
Yeah.
ima-
Or you'll never be able to get it back.
yeah, imagine you're the quarterback and you aren't happy there, and everybody knows that, and they know you wanted more money, and like that's cool in the NFL because everybody's getting paid, but
Yeah. It's like the old guy. I don't know if you have any old guys at your job that you work with. We have one guy, actually, we have a few, but only one makes it known. Ah, I'm retiring in 12 months. I don't care.
yeah, yeah,
It's like to me, it's the equivalent of that. Like I'm worth 6 million. I'm only making four here, so I'm transferring.
yeah.
It's not a good look.
So yeah, I think that whole situation sucks, but it can also be great for some of the coaches, some of the teams. Like you have an incoming player, like Bama needed some healthy wide receivers, and that's why they went to go get Isaiah Horton. They picked up a tight end, I believe, as well. Um, running back. They picked up a running back from a smaller school. I can't remember where he came from. And then just so happened the starting running back gets injured. He'll be out. Jan Miller will be out until I think the Georgia game. I think he'll come back.
Okay.
Um,
That's
Convenient, right?
with with
Oh no, I can't play until Georgia.
I know. Let me rest until the Georgia game. Oh, sidetrack. They have so I'm a big hockey guy. So they have there's a loophole in what you just said reminded me of this. It's like cap circumcision. So you have to comply to the cap in the NHL all season, right?
Hmm.
That cap goes away in the playoffs. So
What?
so if you need to bring people in, there's no cap. So what these teams have been officially, unofficially doing is, oh no, a guy making $10 million a year gets hurt right before the trade deadline. Let's put him on long-term IR. That way his cap hit goes away. We can bring in somebody who's
Wow.
making X amount of dollars and not be cap compliant when the injured player comes back into the playoffs.
Wow.
They just signed a new CBA this year, so that has gone away. But the last 4 years, that has been a thing with the Vegas Golden Knights, even the Florida Panthers with Matthew Tkachuk getting hurt, and I think his cap hit is 10.5 million. So they brought in a few players making well above what would have been being cap compliant, and then make a run through the playoffs.
How is I so there was a player recently that you had told me about, like that prodigy kid who's going to be playing at
Oh,
was it
this, it's Gavin McKenna who's playing at Penn State.
Penn State?
Yes.
How
Yep.
how is college like as far as like this whole situation with hockey?
So I think the one word that comes to my head is evolving,
Hmm.
because there have been, not only with the implementation of NIL, but the without going too in depth, some of the Canadian leagues with the Canadian players have now changed the rules to where they allow their players to come and play college hockey.
Oh wow.
Because I believe Gavin McKenna is like 17.
Yeah.
He was like a double underager in the Canadian junior leagues, and now is coming to play because of the rule changes, coming to get in the neighborhood of, which, keep in mind, compared to football, very low, but hockey unheard of, in the neighborhood of 800 to $1 million, 800,000 to $1 million to come and play hockey at Penn State.
Is he Canadian?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So there have been so he is not NHL draft eligible yet because of his age.
Hmm.
But he's kind of an anomaly because he's another, world-class generational talent in theory. But there's guys that have been drafted by NHL teams, and it's not like football where if you get drafted, you then go and play. That NHL team retains your rights, but more often than not, they'll send you to college, a junior team in Canada, even junior teams in the United States, to really hone in on your craft and develop before they call you up to the NHL.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, that's groundbreaking that Gavin McKenna is making those sums of money to come and play hockey at Happy Valley.
Hmm. And also, I was definitely interested on how this was going to affect the other schools. Like for those of you who don't know, like football really controls all sports because it's the highest grossing revenue sport that America has for college. And so that's the reason why like these schools have aligned differently. Like as we were
Yeah,
talking about earlier, Cal and Oregon and USC are now in different conferences, and Texas even joining the SEC. It's all for money, and football is the reason why it's happening.
the
Like
main
Texas,
driver.
Yeah, Texas didn't join the SEC so that their gymnasts can play Georgia.
Yeah.
It's because of football, so
Yeah.
that Texas can play Georgia in football, and that's the reason why we have these realignments and we have all these other things going on. It's all for football. So I was very curious on how all this stuff was going to affect the other sports, like especially baseball, where you're playing a ton of games. Like you're telling me Cal has to go play a bunch of ACC schools in baseball. Like was it probably I don't know how many games they play in college. I'm going to say like probably 30 or 40 something games in baseball.
I think it's in the neighborhood of that. Yeah.
So like 20 times a year, you have to ship your baseball team to the East Coast. Good God.
Yeah. I I don't even know how that works.
I would assume they would, I mean, you can't pick favorites. Like Cal made the decision, but like
Yeah.
line them up back to back to back, and those kids just going to have to miss class, but give them like 3 games in a 2 day period or something, or 3 games in a
But
3 day period or something.
is it was the realignment, what would you use? Texas going to the SEC, right? That was your example.
Yeah.
Is it just in certain sports?
No, it's all
It's
sports.
across the whole. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think the only thing that's different is like if you're independent, you can choose the league you play in. So like Notre
Okay.
Dame,
Okay.
they might be Big Ten in one, and then like ACC in another sport. They can
Okay.
choose because they're an independent. Like
Okay.
they can choose whatever league they play in. If I'm not
Gotcha. Gotcha. I don't know how that works. I really don't. Because I know hockey is they they do have Big Ten and they have it's so different because they have Hockey East, which is like the Boston schools, Boston College, BU, that is a powerhouse. It's so different. I can't even try to compare that to football.
I need to
But
look up if there's I think there's a Big East in basketball.
I want to say there isn't base. I gotta expand my knowledge on this.
Yeah, there's a Big East.
I gotta do a little less work at work and a little more a little more research on this.
So there's a Big East in basketball. It says I'm using
Okay.
ChatGPT, but it says the modern new Big East was reformed in 2013 when several schools split from the original Big East. So
Okay.
current men's basketball members include Butler, UConn, Creighton, DePaul, Georgetown, Marquette, Providence, Seton Hall, St. John's, Villanova,
Okay.
and Xavier. So that's the Big East. There is no Big East in football.
Yeah, no, I knew that went away.
Yeah.
Huh.
It says the Big East is known for being a basketball first league. It doesn't sponsor football, and it consistently produces top tier teams in NBA. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean UConn, Georgetown, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, there's different conferences in different sports, but I think every school, let's see, is Oregon in the Big Ten in every sport. Yeah. So yeah, once your school picks a league, they're in all of them.
Okay.
Or you can choose to be independent. And that's what Notre Dame has done. They're
Does. Yeah.
independent in football, but I think they are in another league in like basketball, baseball, and everything else. Like you can
Okay.
choose that. So basically, you have to pick one conference or be independent. So like you could be SEC in everything and then independent in like,
Okay.
but you can't be like, we're going to play SEC football, we're going to play ACC basketball, and then
Yeah.
play Big
Just a
Ten.
free for all on whatever conference, depending upon the
That.
'sport.
That would be wild.
Yeah. Um, what I don't know if you want to wrap it up soon, but I want to talk more about NIL and the money involved. And now one of the changes I think that came out of the offseason was they don't necessarily have to funnel the money through booster clubs or whatever it may be. It's now direct payments.
So from my understanding, and yeah, let's wrap up after this. But from
Okay.
my understanding, um, there is a shared revenue among the schools. Is that right? Or is it like, so is it like each school has to share the money amongst all student athletes, or is it the conferences are sharing money?
That I don't know. I What I took out of the changes was that the payments could just be direct now. It didn't have to be funneled through
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, I knew the players could get paid direct,
Okay.
but I didn't know if like basically did they I was curious if they were like, okay, the SEC brings in $100 billion a year. We split the revenue because that's the whole reason why you want to be in a big conference. Like Memphis,
Correct. Yeah.
I live in Memphis right now, and Memphis was trying to join the Big 12 and they just got denied. So the Big 12 was like, no, we don't want you. And the reason why Memphis was want to do that is because you get to share the revenue of the from the TV games and stuff like that. Like you get to share revenue from the conference that you're in. That's the reason why.
Okay.
That's the reason why Texas wanted to join the SEC
Yeah.
is to be able to compete for championships and stuff. But two, you get to share all the money that the SEC and Texas is already bringing in a ton of money. They have their own TV network.
They want to bring in that. They for sure wanted to bring them in.
Yeah, but now you get to share SEC money. And so that I didn't know if it was like that or this if the school, like let's say the University of Alabama, has $500 million to pay all athletes. I didn't know if they had to share, like all the athletes share the money, or if the school is just like, we think this guy is worth this much money, we pay him this much money, and then that's it.
Wait, so you're saying the schools are direct
Yeah, I'm
you're saying the schools are directly so let's say you have booster A.
yeah.
You're saying booster A wants you know what? Let's use the Dave Portnoy Underwood situation. You're saying Dave Portnoy and then the Oracle guy, I forget his name, but the $20 million was paid to the school, and then the school then disseminates that money. I thought it was just straight up Dave Portnoy cutting a check to
To the kid.
Underwood. Yeah.
In that situation, I don't know
I,
because
that's what I thought the changes were. And I'll tell you, so I was getting for a while, I was getting PT on my shoulder and my lower back for random sorts of injuries. Um, One of the PT assistants had just graduated from Texas Tech. She played softball.
mhm,
And she's 23, 24, I can't remember. But anyway, her college career was freshman, sophomore, NIL hit, junior, senior, she was under NIL.
mhm,
And I said, that's incredible. I want to have a conversation. What was it like? Obviously, nowhere near to the dollar amount that football players are getting paid because
yeah.
it's women's softball. But what was that like to then go from not being able to profit off your name, image, and likeness to then being able to? It must have been absolute chaos. And she was telling me about how, they had to sit through different um classes, and there was this whole program that was implemented. But one of the things and the most interesting to me was where I was asking the most amount of questions is I guess there was a rich oil man whose wife played softball at Texas Tech and decided to give them all the girls on the softball team an NIL deal. I don't know what the dollars amount, I didn't ask specifics. I was more interested in the mechanics of it all. And I said, well, what did you like? How did it work? What did you do? She's like, well, we had to, I guess the husband had a company or something that we had to make like certain amount of Instagram posts, and we had to show up to like a car wash. There was like certain things that had to be done, and then the money in this booster, this charity almost was then disseminated to the girls
Mm,
after they fulfilled the obligation.
yeah.
What I took the changes as was that is no longer what needs to happen. It Let's say my PT assistant literally just got a check cut to her for playing, doing what she does. There's no more, unless it's agreed upon in the contract, there's no more strings attached.
Mm. Yeah.
I just lost you.
No, I thought it. Oh, like literally.
Your webcam went down.
Oh shoot. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. My camera got all dead and whatnot because this darn studio camera. This is like so zoomed in.
I'm
Yeah.
ready for my close-up.
Yeah. I'm just having to like hold it in front of me. But okay. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and wrap this up because I can't
All
hold
right.
it.
Like
Yeah.
back in boot camp, we had to hold up the water bottle in boot camp for an hour and a half.
Oh my God. But all right, yeah, all that stuff, I think all the predictions and NIL and all that stuff, it was great talking to you about that because I think that that stuff it's definitely going to play a huge role in the future and it currently is right now. And there will be many changes, but it's always just fun to watch it play.
Yep, absolutely. And I can't wait for all of our predictions to be wrong and we have to
Yeah.
go back to the drawing board.
But yeah, we could probably do one maybe before the playoff or something.
Okay,
Interesting, but
sounds good.
all right. Well, thank you for everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
Cool. Yeah, sorry about that. That
Oh,
sucks.
you're good.
Just sitting here
You're
holding.
good. We definitely went over a little bit. So,
All right. Yeah, I think my wife wanted to go to Trader Joe's, so that's why.
okay.
That's what I think I'm about
Sounds
to.
good. I let's talk another time. I want to know how the job's going too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just offline.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
All right, man. See ya.
All right, later, dude. Bye.